What's the Not Your Finest Hour podcast? What is that all? I mean, I've heard stories.
Not Our Finest Hour podcast. One I'll have to check out one of these days when I get a minute to listen to it. I've been told it's not for everyone. I don't know. It's just the general reviews I hear on it, but it has been getting really good reviews.
And I've never personally listened to it, but I have heard it's not for everyone.
I listened to the Not Our Finest Hour podcast. Just great podcast. I've really enjoyed that.
I'm not endorsing anything. From what I said, from what Caleb told me, he said don't endorse anything unless you listen to it first.
I do once in a while listen in, and it's a lot of fun. But I do got to be careful. It is not for everyone.
Caleb Allman is always dropping notes that it's one of the most value-added shows out there.
Of course, through all the Not Our Finest Hour, you guys poking fun at so much different stuff is absolutely killer.
I don't feel any oppression tonight. In fact, I feel very free. The Not Our Finest Hour podcast. Thanks for being here.
Welcome to the Year in Review. Mike, take it away. What are we doing?
I just thought that we would do what we always do for the past 2 years and talk about our favorite moments in the past year. If you guys have any, if you had a chance to look back at the episodes at all. I know I took some notes while we were recording our last episode at least, but I don't know. Do you guys have any memories from the past year that stand out?
I don't know. It all meshes in my mind. It mind melds into one huge thing.
Okay, so I'll get us started here. This
that
year
seems like the best plan.
Yeah, because you guys went completely silent when I asked you guys, which is weird because usually I'm the silent one. This year we had another guest, which is rare on the Not Our Finest Hour podcast, J Squared, and he came on to talk about the biggest scam in hardscape history. Do you guys recall that?
No.
Well,
I remember the episode.
Was he talking about that chain with the sticks welded on it? Was that what he did for the whole episode?
The biggest scam that probably came up though at some point. The biggest scam in hardscape history. We were talking about polymeric sand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because you're on here with us, you have to tell at least one. You have to, at a minimum, for a 3-minute stretch, if you're going to come on this podcast, shit talk some kind of polysand and talk about some kind of polysand incident that happened. You don't need to have any specific
only 3 minutes.
Well, no, you are welcome. You are welcome to use up all your time on it, but there is a 3-minute minimum to shit talking polysand on this podcast. So
I hate polysand. I just hate all of it. I don't care what it is. It all sucks. I don't like it. I don't even use it anymore.
What do you?
That wet sand.
Yeah,
that resin or whatever.
I literally every single job we won't do the paver unless we can use that wet sand. That's pretty much it. Unless it's like travertine, and there's really no joint anyways, because that stuff won't go in those joints very easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate polysand. It's horrible. It's the worst product ever invented. It's the biggest scam in hardscape history.
You and I today.
That might be the episode title. Biggest scam in hardscape history.
Oh, that's gotta be the episode title.
That's great.
That's the fucking episode. Today, we were at this event, Mike and I, and there was pads of paper from one of the polysand manufacturers, and on the bottom of it, it said, "New formula, now haze free." I'm like, is it like fucking 1992? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's where you're at now. Like, the product is so fucked up. You're advertising something that was existing 10 years ago, supposedly, or that was a lie 10 years ago, and now it's true. I was like, wow. Like, I was like, you people just give us material. When I look at that shit and say, we did the same thing. Not last year, the year before we started, because I did a cost analysis. Don't tell anyone that I did that. And anyone who's listening, I didn't actually do that. But I did a cost analysis. And if one job, I know that sand is more expensive and it's more time consuming to put in, right? I know that.
Yeah.
But if one job fucked up on us, that's more expensive than using that sand on every job for the whole year.
Oh yeah.
Just having to go
Dude,
back to one fucked up job and redo it
right.
costs more than the increase of the other sand for the whole fucking year. Like it just
Yep.
Yeah.
And my stress level has decreased probably 50% from switching to
Hmm.
wet sand. I mean, there's like there's two things that you get callbacks from when you do patios. It's the sand and it's the grass. So you do the wet sand and you never get a callback for that anymore, and then you just sod it and you don't get a callback for that. That's those are the two things that we switched, and now we just never get callbacks anymore.
yeah. I
Knock on wood.
we have a one of the municipalities in our area where you're not allowed to dump anything on the road ever. They get super lit. So this started like 15 years ago. I started just telling every client, we're gonna sod your whole fucking front lawn. And I just
Yeah.
started including it, and it just made life so much easier. It was like all of a sudden I didn't get called back over the grass seed that didn't really take at the side of the house or the bull. It just was like, okay, we're done with this bullshit. We're just gonna sod the whole fucking front lawn because it just
That's what we do. We just trash the yard. Don't worry about it. We're gonna sod the whole thing on our way out, and then it's super easy just to throw down sod. I
how
mean,
much
versus rolling out the mats or even if you did like straw bales and then just blows all over the neighbor's yard and all over your nice patio, and then it rains and washes mud all over the place. It's just a nightmare. So it's for a couple $100, you can buy a pallet of sod and be done with it.
in terms of saying like when you make the decision to just say I'm going to trash the sod and replace it, as opposed to trying to stay on the mats or go around or how like the freedom to just go where you need to go and trash what you need to trash versus all the time you take trying to save $200 worth of sod. Like how much more efficient do you think it makes you just to say I don't give a fuck about $200 worth of sod, I'm just going to go for it.
Oh yeah. Those jobs where you have to go in and be all surgical and save the sod and all that kind of stuff, like you spend two or three times the amount of time dealing with that. It makes a huge difference in labor.
I agree. I think it's a big
It's
like for,
definitely a better value for the client. And we just knock it out and get out of their hair and be done with it.
and every client loves new grass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never sodded a front lawn in 35 years or sodded something where someone came to me and was like, "Man, I wish I had my old shitty grass."
Right.
Like
Yeah,
I wish
and the other thing is like when you're done with the job, it looks awesome. And you can
yes.
take pictures of it and you don't have to like
Yeah.
wait until the grass comes in 3 months later and then you come back and then the grass looks shitty because they didn't water it or fertilize it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's way better just to sod. Do the wet sand and sod it. And this can be Caleb's corner.
This is Jeremy's Caleb's corner is sod the fucking shit and use the wet sand. And do you have a wet sand you prefer or
Oh shoot, why can't I think the name of it? What are my options?
No Storm, Nitro, Easy Joint, Romex.
we use
No, there's
Romex
another one.
we use Romex Ecofine. That's the one we use.
Okay. It's like shoot. It's a short no, what is it? SEK maybe? I can't think of it. Wetlock. Yeah, I think it's SEK, Wetlock.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a little bit finer than the Nitro. So we did use the Nitro, but then we switched to this because it's finer, so it'll get into smaller joints easier.
That's why we started using two reasons. One was like the guy who owns our supply yard is like one of my best friends where we and I don't know if he had a lot of this shit or something or what the story was, but he was just on me about trying this Romex stuff. He was fucking on me every day. And then we tried it, and because it's finer, that's why it just went in nicer. It just like
Yeah.
was easier to get. It's this whole thing's a pain in the ass, but it went in nicer.
Do you still have
Yeah,
to
it
go
goes in
around
the
and
joints down easier.
do you still have to point all the joints with that other shit? Like I feel like Nitro, you got to go around and point all your joints.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
it just doesn't look right.
I'm a big like advocate of that. Like we try to if we finished like sanding it in the afternoon, I want to make sure like that first thing the next morning it's like just hard enough, but it's not too soft, and you can go around and tool it.
Yeah.
But what's nice is like if you do that, you can get the joint like perfectly at the chamfer on all the pavers, and it looks awesome. If you don't do that, it looks sloppy. And if you wait too long to go do that, like it's been like a hot day and we forgot to do it, and like, oh crap, at the end of the day or whatever, like, oh, we'll do it in the morning, and you're out there just scrubbing that thing for like hours. It's so miserable.
Yikes.
But yeah, you definitely got to tool it. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I feel like whoever comes up with a solution that's not washing shit in and not sand for these like will be a fucking multimillionaire.
Jeremy, at one point, didn't you start doing jointing sand and then using a joint stabilizing sealer?
Yeah, I tried that too. That's kind of like there's some pavers that kind of need to breathe, it seems like, and it's just like it seems like all the situations for that are different, and that's the whole thing with like polysand too. Is you got you remember the days of like watching the weather and making sure like, oh man, it's gonna be just the right temperatures, and then it's not gonna rain till the next day. Like you get into all that, and even worse with doing the joint stabilizing. So that we got over that real quick.
Gotcha.
I bought a whole pallet of like just regular sand that wasn't poly sand, just like regular joint sand. And we just took that out to the job today because we're using it to mix up with mortar because it's been sitting at my shop for like 3 years. So, we're over that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. The wet sand's the way to go. Dealing with that was such a nightmare with poly sand. Like you'd be done with the job, but you couldn't finish it because of the poly sand. And we do all these jobs like up until Christmas, and then we'd come back in the spring after the nighttime, like around April or May, and then you got 10 jobs to go back and sand, and then people have been walking on them all winter long, so they're all dirty, nasty, and all the pavers are tipped, so you got days of just lifting pavers and cleaning, and that was a nightmare.
Or
So
it's fall and it's wet, and then the leaves fall into the cracks, and
oh yeah, miserable.
Yeah, we had the same like with driveways. If we like, I just say to people in the fall, like, I'm not doing this because if I can't get the sand in, you can't park on your driveway for the whole fucking winter.
Right.
Like you can't drive on it. All the stuff's going to shift. The sand is a vital part of whatever you put in the joints is a vital part of this operation. So if I can't get it in, I don't know. It was probably 5 years ago. We did this driveway that was Squadra, and it's like all these fans, like fish scales, and there's like 27,000 Squadras in the driveway, and we're looking at it, and it's like starting to snow, and like the first week of November, and I'm like, motherfucker, like we can't leave this. Like we spent like I don't know $1,000 on propane, fucking drying 100 square feet of it and putting the sand in, and drying 100 square feet of it and putting the sand in, and it worked. Like I mean, well, the warranty's gone, so I didn't need to fucking knock on wood. Hopefully the guy sold the fucking house. Hey, that's the truth. At the completion of every job in the hardscaping world, when you finish every job, your greatest hope is a for sale sign the next day on the front fucking lawn.
Absolutely.
That is the absolute dream of every hardscape contractor. You finish a job, you walk away, you get paid, everyone is happy as fuck, and then the next day that for sale sign goes clunk in the middle of the front fucking lawn. You can't beat
and then they shoot you a text. They're like, "Man, my house sold in a day because of your beautiful work. You want to do the next house?"
That warranty is non-transferable, motherfuckers. It's non-transferable. That driveway, I remember it just being like this epic. Like I was so worried. I had so much anxiety. I'm like, man, this was so much work to build this fucking driveway, and if we don't get it sanded, it's all going to be fucked. And to the credit of the sand, it actually worked there. So, although the rep came out and did it with us, because I've been posting the driveway.
So he did it the right way, is what you're saying.
I know
that's why
guys.
It worked.
I know guys that have done it with the He pre-compacted the stones. If you don't pre-compact, did you know if you don't pre-compact your stones, the poly sand will haze sometimes?
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Interesting.
If you don't,
That-
if
I
you
can
don't,
see. I can see how that would happen.
yeah, well, that's it's obvious. You don't pre-compact, you're risking a heavy hazing session of the poly. Oh my god!
Right.
I remember
Oh,
when that
Lord.
shit first came out. Like when it very, very first came out, we would just slam it into patios and like fucking wet the shit out of it. No one read the instructions. And I honestly, so I actually had this debate with someone. I honestly don't remember anyone ever giving me a hard fucking time about it when the first 5, 6 years we used it. It wasn't this big issue. And I was talking to someone and they said, you know, when this shit became an issue, when the paver companies started making wide joints. If you're doing like a 4x8 Holland pad or driveway, the joints in the stone are so fucking small, no one even knows if the poly sand is in there. Never mind if it's working. Like
Yeah.
but once you start getting to the bigger, wider, like 1/4 inch or whatever it is, like that's when people started to get lit about the whole thing. And that, like, when we started getting pavers, like here, a paver I would remember, and Chad probably would too, is like Permacon Trafalgar, which would have been like a Belgard paver probably in the States. Like that that was the first one I remember with a wide joint that started to become a shit show for me. Again, it wasn't tumbled, and because like the tumbled pavers that we used to lay, there's no bumpers on them. You can't even get sand in the motherfucking things. So you're just like, one bag does 3,000 square feet. Brush that shit around, like, because there's no bumper on it. You can't, like, other than when you tamp it, you can vibrate some into it, but there was no big space in any of the pavers, so it was never this big fucking issue it is now.
Yeah. No, that's
Mostly
for sure the case.
we should launch a campaign. Bring back tiny, thin fucking joints on everything.
Polymeric sand. Nothing like that.
Well, that's been a thing for the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a heavy theme on the Not Our Finest Hour podcast for sure. I think J Squared came on the show just to talk about that specifically.
Specifically about, you're saying he came on specifically. I think one of my highlights was the leader of leaders. Honestly, I know that just happened.
Yeah.
But that was a great highlight. I love watching the crazy shit that people are doing. It's fucking wild. Like, that was one of the things that the leader of leaders, baby.
Maybe
That
I'll
sounds
spend all
like-
my time at mastermind events and I'll never have to run my business from the city I'm in. Is that what we're getting at here?
I don't know. Mastermind events look fun.
Yeah. Imagine what I could learn.
They got mind food there.
Mm,
Mind food.
wonder what kind of food
They
they
got
have.
real food, and when you're done with the real food, you jump on the mind food.
Is that
I
like
couldn't even make that up. That came live from one of the events.
mind blown?
The food was good, but now we're into the mind food. I think that, someone could listen and say that we're haters and we're just hating on things. And I think that could be true. I think there's some truth to that.
Too.
Well, I think but I also think that realistically, if you break it down, do I hate mastermind events? Absolutely. Do I think they're a waste of money and time when you could be working at your business, making actual money? I think that's true. Would I pay to attend a mastermind event? I'd rather go bankrupt. Because if I paid to attend a mastermind event, then whatever that costs, 3, 5, 10,000, I'd just go bankrupt that much faster. At least I got to keep the money before attending the mastermind. But if you say I'm a hater and that, I'm going to do me and I'm going to go to masterminds and I'm going to fucking go to a city I don't live in to run my company, like Chad says, hey, you're probably right. I'm a fucking hater. That's okay. But I think we can all agree that if you need to wear a hat, a toque, or a shirt that says leader of leaders on it, you're not a leader of jack fuck.
I think you said in the past, PK, if you call yourself something long enough, then it sticks. Sort of
That's
like
true.
Paver King.
I have. That's true. I guess if you call yourself, but do you think that a leader of leaders tells people they're a leader of leaders? Or do you think people just fucking know? I don't know. What's your gut? Maybe I'm wrong. And you like, what's your guys' opinion? Do you think that? I know you're also trying to hustle and sell T-shirts for $60 a shirt, so there's that as well. You got to respect that hustle. A leader of a leader also brags about being a leader of a leader and also tries to hustle T-shirts on the side.
To be fair, all ours just say take massive action.
How
they
much
do
would
have
you
our logo
pay
on the back.
How much would you pay for a leader of leaders shirt, Mike?
If I was forced to, I would go print one off myself and save a little bit of money.
How much would
That's
that
if I was
cost?
forced to. If I wasn't forced to, I wouldn't.
How much would that cost?
The print maybe like $20.
See, you're saying the $60 is, you think, excessive.
I would say, yeah, $60 for a T-shirt is.
You got to understand, these were advertised as limited edition.
I mean, if they're, I'm a sucker for something that's limited edition, so I don't know.
Well, you have all those shards.
Yeah. If it was numbered, I might have to hop on it. I might feel.
What if it was signed
by who?
The leader of leaders.
Oh, Barkley.
By who? No, it's signed by the leader of leaders. Do you think that he's wearing that shirt to tell other people he's a leader of leaders, or to remind himself he's a leader of leaders?
That's a good point. Sometimes I
think it's a fair point. Like, is he selling those shirts so that when I wake up in the morning and I pull on my limited edition leader of leaders shirt, that I look at myself in the mirror and it's like self-affirmation every day? Mike Pennington, am a leader of leaders.
Have you told yourself that in the past?
No.
What do you tell yourself every morning when you get up?
I'll
tell you right now, I don't call myself a fucking leader of leaders when I get up.
What do you tell yourself?
I say, fuck, here we go again. Let's go.
I usually wake up if I'm having that kind of train of thought, in a constant wave of disappointment in myself every day. Disappointment is what drives me forward. Self-hatred. Being a leader of leaders seems complex.
Pessimist of pessimists.
So this is where I am. We had a couple guys on a job site up north. And they had to pick up soil here and there to do some prepping for sod. So they were using the dump trailer. And there was one day they used it quite a bit, and the battery's the original one, I think. So the battery died. So the foreman got the buggy, which has the smallest battery of anything we own, and promptly used that to boost the dump trailer, which then destroyed the battery of the buggy and the battery of the dump trailer. So there's a couple of solutions that I might have gone with. One would be The dump trailer actually has a physical like plug where you can plug a wall plug in and it charges the battery overnight. So I might have considered doing that. It has a trickle charger if you leave it hooked up to the truck. So I might have considered doing that. Or if the battery was garbage, I probably would have gone and bought a new battery and just put a new battery in it, which is most likely the decision I would have made because I've been frustrated and pissed off by that point. So I said, fuck it, just buy a new battery. At no point would it have crossed my mind personally to select the smallest battery we have and start using it to dump the dump trailer. But when all this happened and we ended up buying two batteries, one for the dump trailer and one for the buggy, I wasn't upset because I was actually happy because although I disagreed with the decision, a decision was made.
He was the leader of leaders.
Well, I'm the leader of leaders. He's the leader below me.
But if he had a shirt,
if he had a shirt, he might have just plugged it into the fucking wall and charged the battery.
We did the same thing. Well, no. So I get in the dump truck today, the tandem. Dead. Boost it with my truck, and then take off to the job site. Get a call on the way. Oh, we need you to explain some flowable fill to us behind one of your walls. I said, great, it's near my job. I'll just swing by with the dump truck. Get there, put it in park, hit the air brake, get out, leave the truck still running because if I turn it off, it's gonna die again. I won't be able to get it going. While I'm explaining the flowable fill situation, my dog turns the truck off somehow, and I'm stranded. I had to call the guys. Guys, bring the booster cables from the shop, boost the truck so I could go into the job site. They show up with the client's booster cables, which are like fucking strands of spaghetti. They're not big dump truck booster cables. They're like lucky if they get your Kia Soul running, these things. And they are completely useless. Send them back to the shop, get the big cables, fires up in a second, and away we go. But they definitely were not wearing their leader of leader shirts whenever they took the spaghetti cables to boost the big dump truck.
Do you think if you had attended a mastermind and put better processes in place for your business, that this wouldn't have happened to you?
I think instead of spending my time going 6 or 8 hours away to attend one of these things, I'll figure it out on my own and put those policies in place as they happen, as they're required. So we make the mistake one time and then it's ours to keep, right? And I think it's more impactful that way whenever you make your own mistakes as opposed to reading someone else's. If that's what the whole mastermind thing is about, I don't know. Could it not just be a fucking pissing contest?
I was reading the agenda today.
Yeah, what's that all about?
I don't remember at all.
There was an agenda?
Yeah. There's an agenda to go to.
Maybe we should do a mastermind dump. It's what?
It's $160.
The mastermind only cost $160?
Yeah. Now you want to go?
What?
Plus the ride.
Well, I don't want to go to a mastermind that only costs $160. How fucking good can that be?
Was it better when you thought it was like 10,000?
I don't want some fucking low end mastermind. What are we going to that's not even the Walmart of masterminds. $160 is the giant tiger of masterminds.
You can go to Disney World for less than that.
What the? You're serious? This mastermind is $160?
Yeah, if you use a promo code.
What if you don't use a promo code? Is it 12 grand?
200.
$200.
Yep. US. So that's like 10,000
800 Canadian.
10 grand Canadian.
$160.
Does that change your mind?
It makes me think that it's a bigger waste of time than I thought.
If you had nothing going on that day and it was a 10-minute drive from you, would you go?
No.
No.
I'd rather walk my dog.
I'd rather bash myself in the head, like punch myself in the face. Well, I don't know. When I thought these things were 5 to 10,000, I thought there was probably some insightful, valuable information potentially. But if you're doing it for $160, that has got to be a fucking total waste of time. $160.
So it's still put on by a software company. So I'm sure this is sort of a top of funnel situation.
Top of funnel.
Where they still probably break even on it. Right? So it's not like they're paying to obtain top of funnel.
But if you're, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like if you're trying to teach people, if you're teaching me how to make money and earn a lot of money, and the best you can charge is $160 to get someone to come to your thing, that doesn't seem like you're teaching me how to make money. Maybe you are, I don't.
But
And so I can tell you how many events I attended when they were asking me about it. I forgot about it twice and just went on with my day. That happened too.
And there was some financial upside for you to attend those events, possibly.
Potentially there was financial. Wow. Maybe I would have got a free Leader of Leaders shirt. At $160. That's embarrassing. It has to be wrong.
No, it's right. I checked it out today. I'm on the website now.
That's a fucking embarrassment. That I have that is a fucking embarrassment. Having people fly all over the country for $160. There's no fucking way that's true.
It is. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Well, no wonder everyone can afford the six. No wonder they're hawking the fucking Leader of Leaders shirts for $60 a piece. Trying to make some money on the fucking goddamn back end.
does that include breakfast? $160?
Yeah, I think everything's included in that. There's nothing else
And
saying.
It
lunch.
includes mind food, motherfucker. Mind food.
That sounds more like a cult every time I hear it.
Well, I don't think a cult charges $160. I think a cult's like free. Doesn't they suck you in and then they get how much percentage of your income do you have to give to this? Isn't that what they do with Scientology? Don't you have to give like 20% of your income to Scientology if you belong to the church?
I think there's a
Or
lot
the
of
cult?
There was a Jehovah's Witness guy in town. He used to be a landscaper, and he would always pull these pretty big jobs, but he never had any money. And I figured it's because he had to give so much to the church all the time.
Did he have to? I have no idea.
Yeah, Jehovah's Witness, I'm pretty sure they got to give.
I'm like the least religious person on the planet.
Hmm.
Well, maybe not the least. I think there's someone less religious than me. Maybe. Mike is in-depthly studying this.
Yeah.
Is on the agenda how to charge more than $160 for your event? Is that one of the things that's on the fucking agenda? Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh. I guess it is the top of the funnel though, right?
Yeah.
If you
it
can
is.
pay, if you can get someone to pay to jump in the top of your funnel, I guess that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. Still. Kind of like
Good marketing
Wow.
scheme they got cooked up there.
Is it? I guess. I don't know. Mind food. I guess it's just food for your mind. Mind food. Hashtag mind blown. How many things can you put after mind? Mind food. Hashtag mind blown. Mastermind. We could think of something else and put it in the mix.
And then we launched our own Leader of Leaders shirt.
We did. Yeah, it's out there. It's
Has it
got
sold
American spelling. Probably not.
It has not sold anything. We
Probably
have had
we're
a
the
couple
only-
of orders recently though for mostly Paver King hats.
We launched the merch store.
Yeah. Oh, was that this year?
Must have been.
Yeah, we launched the merch store this year. That's a big thing.
No,
that
I think
happened.
we launched it last year for Congress, because then I brought a bunch of shirts for
Mm.
Congress and we had the oppression hat and everything like that. But probably
I think
bled into this year.
uh,
We came up with official Not Our Finest Hour intro music finally.
That was all you. That's
and we
great
launched
too.
it this year.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I've got intro music. You guys ready for this?
Really?
Yeah.
I'm super interested in this intro music.
This is like something you've never heard. I spent many of time on it.
Is it AI generated?
Many of time. I've spent many of time on this intro music.
Is it AI generated?
Is this intro music brought to you by the Mulder Freedom Hat?
I will. I don't want to give any spoilers, to be honest.
Okay, no
I
spoilers.
think the best thing for me to do is just
I do
share
want
my
to.
screen.
I do want to say to everyone though that limited availability. You can own a piece of history. It's basically the same as getting a sword from the Civil War. The Mulder Freedom Hat is available right now, limited quantity. And Andy himself says own a piece of history. You know, you could have a Civil War sword. You could have a piece of a aircraft carrier from World War II. You could have an ancient Chinese vase. You could have a terracotta soldier, you know, from Pompeii, or you could have a Mulder Freedom Hat. It's all basically the same. It's all a piece of history.
Or you
I
can
know
have
what
a
I'd
Not Our
choose.
Finest Hour oppression hat too.
The oppression hat did win in the poll.
It did.
It did.
A slightly
Freedom
biased
Hat-
poll.
No, more than us voted in it, for the record. I mean, there was like 5 more people.
Mm.
I don't know. There was actually quite a few people. I don't remember exactly how many. I did like the fact that Andy just outright ignored the poll and the whole post about the Freedom Hat. Didn't share it, didn't acknowledge it, didn't message us about it, just said, fuck these guys.
What's,
I need to sell these 25 Freedom Hats. I can't get tangled up with whatever fucking shit they got going on.
what's more oppressive than oppressing the oppression hat?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. He's got 25 hats to move. This podcast is going to help him move the 25 hats. All right. Are you ready for your intro music, Mike?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm
Okay.
excited.
I'm
I've been
pumped
beyond
about this.
excited for 6 days here. Just
6
waiting
days.
to share this. Yeah.
All
You
right.
guys ready?
Ready.
Oh wait, I think let me try this again. I need to share with sound, otherwise it's just me listening to it.
It's not that epic.
It's not. All right, let's do this again.
What's the Not Your Finest Hour podcast? What is that all? I mean, I've heard stories.
Not Our Finest Hour podcast. One I'll have to check out one of these days when I get a minute to listen to it. I've been told it's not for everyone. I don't know. It's just the general reviews I hear on it, but it has been getting really good reviews.
And I've never personally listened to it, but I have heard it's not for everyone.
I listened to the Not Our Finest Hour podcast. Just great podcast. I've really enjoyed that.
I'm not endorsing anything. From what I said, from what Caleb told me, he said don't endorse anything unless you listen to it first.
I do once in a while listen listen in, and it's a lot of fun. But I do got to be careful. It is not for everyone.
Caleb Allman is always dropping notes that it's one of the most value-added shows out there.
Of course, through all the Not Our Finest Hour, you guys poking fun at so much different stuff is absolutely killer.
I don't feel any oppression tonight. In fact, I feel very free. The Not Our Finest Hour podcast. Thanks for being here.
So
I think that should be the official intro music.
I'm sold. Yeah.
You guys like it?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the best. That absolutely needs to be
That's great.
the intro music before every episode starts, starting with this episode. That is great intro music. It's got a great background.
I love it.
It's if you listen to that music, I think that in the current situation, someone could get entangled with this podcast and not realize what it's all about and that it's not for everyone. But if we use that intro music, it's pretty clear it's not for everyone.
That was repeated by 4 different podcasters.
4 different podcasters all repeated that this is this, you know how they always say that Larry David is a comedian's comedian? That when he was up on stage and he was performing stand-up, all the comics in the back would be absolutely laughing their asses off, and all the people in the audience would be booing him. I'd be like, get the fuck off the stage, dude, you're not funny. Do you feel like this is the podcast for landscape podcasters?
I thought the same thing. I thought this was the podcast for there was I'm your favorite comedian's favorite comedian is what I've heard before. We're your favorite podcast, landscape podcaster's favorite podcast.
Favorite podcast. Yeah. And it's not for everyone. That should definitely be the official intro music.
The good thing about that intro music is we can continue to use that same music alongside different clips. So maybe our podcast goes through different seasons where we may need to change up the various clips of voiceovers.
I don't think we should ever change up the part where Brian says, "Do not endorse this podcast." When you listen to it. I think if we're looking for potential sponsors, we should be sending them that clip, that set of music clips. Endorsed by no one and not for everyone. Please sponsor us.
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't want to sign up for that? Endorsed by no one. No value. I don't know who wouldn't want to sign up and be a sponsor of this podcast.
Just looking back at the titles, Mind Blown.
Yeah,
That's got to be a good one.
that's a good one. Hashtag mind blown.
Mind Blown.
Hashtag mind blown. I feel like we've gone from the guru, and now being a guru isn't cool anymore. So we've got to collect influencers and fly them to weird places all over the country and call it a mastermind, and then have the only people posting from a mastermind be the influencers that you've dragged across the country for some reason, because you couldn't have a mastermind near anyone. Anyways, I guess that's my own opinion on it, but I feel sometimes like these people that are endlessly flying from mastermind to mastermind to mastermind, if you're wondering why your business is struggling.
Well, they can't show that their business is struggling if they are the mastermind.
No, I'm talking about the people who are endlessly attending the mastermind.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And posting things like mind blown. Have you ever thought that if you just stayed home and worked on your own business, it might grow? I know that's fucking crazy to think about. That if you stayed home and you did work on your own business and you answered the phone and you went out and you did work and you did sales and spent less time flirting all over the country to masterminds, your business might be bigger. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think that's a
So
possibility?
you're saying boots on the ground is better than boots jumping out of a helicopter?
Uh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't understand that reference completely. And I think that I'm probably going to get myself in shit
On
because I
a
think that you're
LSP
walking me
helicopter?
down a bad road here. But I believe that working on your business or working at your business or being somewhere remotely close to where your business is operating could potentially be beneficial.
Yeah.
Maybe you
I
just don't
also,
have a growth mindset or the right mindset. Maybe you need to work on your mindset.
probably I do. I would say that if I was to encounter a mastermind, whenever someone says mastermind, I'm probably older than you guys, and you don't remember these like little aliens from the cartoons, and they had big heads.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always feel like we're all heading off to the big alien to learn from the alien, the mastermind. Like, I'm not really a jumping on the bus kind of person though, like everybody else. I've always been more of a like, why are we all getting on this bus? I'm not a lemming who follows the other lemmings off the cliff to the mastermind. I tend to be like, who is the mastermind? What did the mastermind actually accomplish? Has anyone actually looked into the mastermind's history? Does everyone just believe everything that comes out of the mastermind's mouth like it's the gospel? Did anyone promoting the mastermind actually know anyone that actually worked for the mastermind?
I don't know. Those are all great questions, and I doubt they've been asked.
Oh, I've asked them.
Well, besides you.
I've asked them. I know. Like, I'm just, hey, if honestly, everyone has to do what is best for them and best for their business. Right? That's the thing at the end of the day. At the end of the day, everyone has to do what is absolutely best for them and absolutely best for their business. And if going to masterminds to be with people who have openly on podcasts talked about using your drug business to prop up your landscaping business until you get it off the ground. And that's like open conversation on a podcast. That's not like you could literally look it up. I don't know. Maybe I haven't heard shit from that podcast in a long time, so maybe it's been deleted. But if that's who you want your brand associated with, great. Because that does work. Having a drug business to prop up your landscaping business absolutely 100% works. It's solid advice if you want to get into the drug dealing business so that you can then become a landscaper. It's tremendous advice and it works well. It worked for the Kennedy family when they ran liquor. During, the Kennedy family was one of the biggest
landscapers.
Well, they're not landscapers, they're politicians. I think that they put their illegal operation to better use than becoming landscapers. They're a political dynasty. They use their rum running days to create a political dynasty, not selling drugs to prop up your landscaping business till it gets off the ground.
Ironically, it ended kind of the same way that a drug dealing business would have ended for them.
That's true. Well, not all of them. Some of them.
No, not all of them, I guess.
But some of them. Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll never buy into the mastermind mindset. This is probably why I'll never get an influencer deal.
Is that not still on the table?
I don't think so. I don't think it's on the table. But I guess because I ask too many questions and I want to know too many things. If someone is constantly verbally diarrheaing out of their mouth about shit, I want to know more about that person. I want to know people who knew that person. I want to know people who worked with that fucking person. But some people don't. They just take it at face value. And I think that that's actually a great way to be. If you can wander through life accepting everything that just comes out of everyone's mouth and then basing your life around it and flying all over the country and telling other people to base their life around it, I think that's a great place to be because you probably also believe in unicorns and leprechauns. And who doesn't love a pot of gold?
It's almost that time of the year.
It
My
is
pot of
almost
gold
that
at the
time
end
of the year.
the landscape season.
Yeah. It is it's almost that time of year. So I'm not, maybe I just have hurt feelings because I've never been invited to the mastermind or I don't want to pay the $20,000.
It's $20,000.
I have no fucking clue. I don't even think that's an outrageous amount. If someone is a mastermind and they're not charging 20 grand, why would you fucking go? This is a mastermind. This isn't a half mind.
What criteria do you have to check off to be the mastermind?
Well, the great thing is the mastermind makes up the criteria. That's the greatest thing about being the mastermind.
So I can be the mastermind.
You could be the mastermind of whatever you want, Chen.
You're right.
And I will come to Cornwall and promote your event.
For $20,000?
For $20,000.
You're not allowed this far. It's outside of your insurance approved bill.
It is definitely outside of my insurance. No.
I'd like to make a differentiation between mastermind and hardscape mastery, which I think has some validity or a lot of validity, right?
Is that that event that Caleb and them put on?
Jeremy and Andy. I think that's a real deal. And I don't think that's that expensive. I think it was what, $3,000?
I heard good things.
Yeah.
And like I would trust.
But I'm not talking about that event.
No,
Yeah.
I know. And I'm making the differentiation.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Because
okay.
I didn't want them to be meshed together.
Yeah.
But it's not called mastermind.
Oh, it's called mastery.
That's different still.
You can make an association if you tried, but
well, people can make an association with anything.
Yeah.
I also don't think
you
they
can make
fly
an
people out.
association with masturbating.
Now for $20,000, that better be the best hand job I've ever gotten.
Well, that wouldn't be masturbating then. I'm just saying. This podcast is not for everyone.
That's for sure. But I would pay to go to Hardscape Mastery. The $3,000 or whatever it was. Crack open some books. But I don't think that's what they're offering at a mastermind course. Do you think they're talking numbers at a mastermind course? Or do you think they're just
I think that I don't know how you do you want to go to any this is in reference to any course, masturbating course, mastermind course, mastery course. It's in reference to anything. I think a criteria for me to go to any course would be, are any of these people living a life that I want to lead? Are any of these people's businesses in the place that I would want to be before I would attend any course? I think that would be the first deep look I would have at anything. And that's different for every person who's attending. Are the people that are holding the course, no matter what course it is, are they people that you want to be like? Are they people that you want to have a business like? Because if they're not, then why would you go to any course?
I think the kind of people I want to be like don't have any course. So last week I spent a lot of time with like an old school construction company. They nothing is GPS, nothing is fucking anything, right? Like their newest equipment is their F-250 trucks. And I mean, they have like big shovels. They're worth like multi-million dollars, probably like $50 million, right? Um, but just sitting down with like old school construction guys, there's nothing that they could put in a mastery course that
Mastermind.
would
Don't get it
mastermind.
confused.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. See, I did it myself.
You're the one that started down this fucking road.
Yeah, I know. Guys like that, just they're like, oh, we got to really speed this up. They're like, do you want us to put in your backfill? And they just brought over the fucking big bulldozer and they bulldozed in the backfill. I said, okay, great, keep the trucks coming. They said, do you think you can be done this wall by next week? I said, yeah, if you keep behind us like this, for sure we can be done. Like, just awesome. Like the power that they put behind things. And they don't care, right? They're not calling the office. Do you think we can do this? Do we have money for this? Can we help them? Like they just fucking snap their fingers and it happens. Yeah, that's
They want to get work done.
Yeah, they want to get work done. It's not a call to the office or call to dispatch. They're calling 4 truck drivers right from site and be like, hey, stop what you're doing. We need a load of gravel, or our fucking brick supplier fucked up. Take the roll off and go get their brick for them. Like, it's awesome. That's the mastermind that I can get behind. They're not offering a course. You just have to get old.
You know how you get knowledge from them?
How?
Be around them.
Watch them. Yeah. Like,
absorb. Keep your fucking mouth shut and learn.
Yeah.
That's how you get. The richest people I've been around in construction, the richest person I ever spent a lot of time around in construction is a extremely wealthy person that I spent time with. I think was probably one of the least educated, formally educated people that I spent a lot of time with.
All those old construction guys are. Like they don't have.
No. They understand that you charge. Those old guys, they understand that if you charge more than it costs you to do the job, you will earn money.
Yeah.
Because that's the base core of everything.
Yeah.
I don't care how many masterminds you go to. I don't care how many classes you take. I don't give a shit how much software you have. The core base of everything that happens is you need to charge more than it costs.
Yeah. Definitely.
And if you're not charging more than it, and then you need to charge as much more as you possibly can than it costs.
Before you lose it. Yeah.
You need to maximize what it costs. You got to minimize what it costs and maximize what you charge. And now you just have a successful business.
That's it. Welcome to PK's mastermind course.
It doesn't matter how many thousands of hours you listen to things. That's what it always comes back to. Charge more than it costs you.
Yeah.
If you go on to any gurus, masterminds, whatever page, listen to their course, you can listen to it for 15 hours. And what it will grind down to in the end is charge more than it costs you to do the job. There's one called Lose Your Phone, and there's 2 episodes of that. That's when I lost my cell phone, which I still don't recommend to anyone. Like I still stand by the fact that my phone, I thought that was October because I was just looking at the episode. My phone life has still not recovered from losing my phone. Ouch. It's still different and it's still fucked up. So somehow during soccer practice, my phone was either stolen or it got lost.
Oh.
So if you really, really, really want to fuck up your life, lose your phone or have it stolen. Whatever happened to it, I'm not sure.
Did you use Find My Phone?
That doesn't help.
Oh.
It gets you within 10 meters of the phone. And then it only gets you to within 10 meters of where the phone was shut off. Not insanely helpful when it's in someone's pocket.
Well, if the 10 meters is moving, then you know that someone took it.
No, wherever it gets shut off, that's the last position it'll give you.
But they have to turn it on at some point, don't they?
No. And if they do turn it on and it's not locked, well, I guess your choice would be to wait until to see if they turn it on. And if they do turn it on and it logs onto a network, it will log a new position. But there's also a chance then they could get into your phone and get all your shit or fuck up your fucking anything they want.
Do you not have a password on your phone?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure someone could figure it out. I grenaded the phone. I was like, whatever, because there's a thing you can punch on your watch that says phone is lost when the watch is on Wi-Fi, and then it grenades the phone.
What does it do? It explodes?
Wipes it. No, it wipes it. We're not fucking the Israeli army here. Fucking, it wipes the phone. And it can never be opened. Even if they did guess the code, it'll just say phone is lost. So, but if you really, really want to fuck up your life, lose your phone.
Yeah.
So, I haven't slept for like 24 hours or whatever because I was like lying in bed saying, what's the first thing that's going to fuck up when no one can get a hold of me? So then I went to the yard and the new driver, Andrew, who so far has done nothing to be released without cause because there is no cause. I took the cell phone the company gave him and then said, okay, everyone call me on that phone is now the Darian/Colin/Don/Andrew phone because it's had 4 users in the last 6 months, 8 months or something. So I put out a thing, whatever this phone is registered as in your phone, this is the phone you can reach me at now. The Andrew/Don/fucking Colin/Darian phone. Just call that phone. You can reach me on that motherfucker now till I get my own phone. So then I went to the store when it opened at 10. And I went in and there was a huge lineup. And I'm not good at being frustrated with myself. When I'm frustrated with myself, I become outwardly angry and then lash out at other people to make them feel as bad about themselves as I do about myself. But I didn't see how that at 50, at like 25, I would have just started screaming in the store. But at 50, I didn't see how that was going to help my situation. So I used deep breathing techniques. While some woman was debating what was going to be essentially $2 off per month her bill, started getting money out of my wallet to say, here, it's a 2-year contract. You're saving $24 a year. Here's $50. Get the fuck out of the store. I need a phone. But I held back. Did not do that. I sat there for the hour while she debated the $2 a month. And then I got my chance with the TELUS person who was very nice. Kyle. Shout out to Kyle from TELUS in Barrie, because that's where we were working. So I had driven to Barrie and he said, what kind of phone do you want? I said, I don't know, whatever the largest screen, highest gig iPhone is. It's like, well, that's expensive. I'm like, bro, I've probably lost $10,000 already this morning. I don't care. This is just this is one huge loss. I don't give a shit. Do you want me to pay cash for Here's an interesting thing. When you get an Apple phone now from a newer one, because they didn't have any of the iPhone 16s, so I have an iPhone 15 Pro Max, whatever the fuck this is. He's like, what color do you want? I'm like, I don't fucking care, dude. New phone. Whatever color gets on the network the fastest. I'm a grown man. I couldn't give a fuck what color my phone is. Pink, green, it doesn't matter. Does it have a screen? Can I get into the fucking apps I need? I have clients fucking texting me that don't know what the fuck's going on. People are sending me DMs on Instagram going, because I grenaded the phone from my watch with the lost thing, and then Kelly grenaded the phone on TELUS. So people are calling it, and it's like saying number out of service or client refusing to pick up
PK went
number.
bankrupt.
Fucking perfect. Yeah. Meanwhile, this guy's debating the cost difference between. And I know he was a nice guy and he was doing his job. He's debating like you could save an extra $10. I don't care about $10 a month, dude.
But do you not realize that the lady before you, $2 a month was important to her?
I
So,
know.
and he deals with this shit all the time, right? He doesn't deal with
Probably.
$5
I
million
agree with you.
business owners. So he's just doing all he knows how to do. His non-transferable
saying-
skill set.
It's not transferable skills. I have to say, he was awesome. Kyle was amazing. He sat with me for 2.5 hours while I got the phone restored. He taught me how to do it. He did an amazing job. I'm not being critical of him because you're right. He was doing what he's trained to do. But I'm trying to say to the guy, like, I don't give a fuck about $10 a month. I spent $9,000 on diesel fuel last week, bro. Like, I don't give a shit. I need this fucking phone to work. Like, I feel like my anxiety and my self-worth, my anxiety is at an all-time high and my self-worth is at an all-time low because I have come to a point in my life where I can't maintain possession of a phone. Like, that's not a hard thing. Like, maintaining possession of a fucking phone, I can't do it anymore. Anyways, Kyle got me set up and he helped me. A few interesting things. So the guy says, I said, I don't know how much is this phone, and I think it was like $2,000. I said, all right, well, I'll just pay for it. Right? Like, I hate having phones on a contract. I hate them dragging out on payments. I'm like, I just pay for it. I'll give you the money. The guy says, well, you can't do that with an Apple phone. It has to be on a payment plan. I said, is he telling me these people don't? No, it does. If you get a
I just
brand new
bought
Apple
one from Apple for $2,000. It's coming at the end of the month.
Oh, so no, but if you bought it direct from Apple, so they control the inventory. The problem is at these TELUS places or whatever, someone will, when the iPhone 16s come in, someone will come in and buy all 100 that come in, and then put them on Kijiji and sell them for $100 more than they paid for them. So now they have this
I tried that with
thing.
Chinese excavators. It doesn't work.
I guess it works for people with cell phones. I don't know. So I'm attempting to pay for this phone in full, and they're not letting me, which was mildly frustrating. And then I was like, I don't know, dude, whatever the rules are, can we get the phone activated? Again, I don't care that much about this. I just need this phone to work. If you need to, if TELUS and Apple feel better with me giving them, because it's also interest free. There's no interest on the phone. I'm like, why the fuck would anyone want, except for Chad with his payment plan, want people to pay them back money interest free?
I think there's different phone plans for those on payment plans versus not. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So there's like an inflated price on on the cell phone bill. But if you bring a phone in and go on to TELUS, then you pay a smaller telephone bill.
Well, because you're not paying for the phone.
No, not just that. So when I upgraded my phone for the first time in however many years, I was on a really cheap phone plan, and when I got the phone, they tried to put me on that cell phone plan, which would have added like $40 a month or something like that.
See, I don't really care what it was going to be a month. I just don't like going in there and having that feeling that they're holding something above you, like they're holding your phone above you. And they're like, well, this phone is really expensive. It's going to be like $1,000, but we'll put it on the plan, and it's only going to cost you $50 a month. Like, fuck off. Let me buy my own phone. I'll bring it myself, and you just pop that SIM card in there, and we're good.
So in a different situation, I would have ordered a phone from Apple. I guess like because I don't remember the last time we. Normally, Kelly orders the phones from Amazon or something whenever we need them.
Hmm.
Amazon or I don't know, wherever she gets them. She just orders phones and they deliver them to the house. And then because we go through a lot of cell phones,
If your phone stopped working, wouldn't your Apple Watch still work? Like you could still take
it
calls
will
through your.
work. It'll work on Wi-Fi.
Oh, but you can get a SIM
Uh,
card for your Apple Watch, can you not? And
Not
then
the
if
one
you're
I have, not the
no,
free one that I won at the Arnt's fucking
oh,
Christmas draw. There may be a watch that does that. I don't think this one was optioned out that way. I actually didn't have the watch on because the watch has an alert on it when the watch gets too far from the phone.
Hmm.
So and all of that led me to believe that I should have at 50, I need to have a watch that alerts me when I'm away from my phone now. I
apparently.
I thought I didn't need it. I thought I'd be okay, but I was wrong. My brain has disintegrated to the point where I need a watch to tell me when I'm not near my phone. And the proof is in the pudding from yesterday. I was away from my phone and I didn't know. See, the whole time I thought the phone was in the truck because I walked from the benches to the truck. I opened the door, I got in the truck, sat down, I went to put my phone on the magnet and it wasn't in my pocket. I was like, oh, that's not good. Must have fallen or something. So I turned on the truck to see if it would log on the Bluetooth, right? Because then you know the phone is near the truck. But the truck was not logging onto the Bluetooth. I was like, oh, this is a bad sign. This is a really fucking bad sign. And I Paisley and I searched for the phone for, I don't know, like fucking an hour and a half. And then she has to go to school. She has a busy schedule. She had a track meet. So I was like, well, I guess this phone is done. Goodbye, purple iPhone 14. I hope you're doing well with whoever fucking has you. Although the guy at the telestore said basically it's like a brick, and the best thing you could do is to smelt the gold out of it.
Well, you got to take
gold
some
in
relief in that. That whoever has it can do absolutely nothing with it.
I actually never actually cared about the actual phone. Like I don't give a shit about the phone. They're disposable. It's like
Yeah, but everything's fine.
buying a shovel, or I was more worried about the shit that's in the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone ever
Sure.
figured out the code or whatever, right? Like
It must be a pain to now because when you get a new iPhone, you just like scan a QR code and all the data goes from your old phone into your new phone. What's it going to do with your new
it
phone?
just came up from the cloud.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It restored the phone. The last time that it was backed up to the cloud was October 6th. So I lost 1 day's worth of text messages and bullshit.
Wow.
That'll probably come back to haunt me 70 ways to Sunday, that one day. Probably a lot of stuff happened on that day that was super important for a month from now. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the
Well,
fucking text.
I think that was a Sunday, so
No, it was
maybe
Monday.
quieter than a regular day.
It was Monday.
Was it? Well,
Yeah. It was yesterday that I lost. I lost yesterday. It's like it all never happened to me.
Hmm.
It's like the whole world just never happened. So I whatever. I just the whole time I was like, I have found a creative new way to fuck my life up instead of the other ways that I find to fuck my life up. And now the new phones don't work like the old phones.
uh-oh.
Like
Tell
the
me about
button-
it. I had an iPhone 6.
What's yours now?
I don't know. 11, 12, 13, one of those.
So when you get to a whatever this is, 15, the charging port is different.
Oh.
So I'm in the truck, the phone's dying. I'm like, oh, I'll just plug it in. Oh, wait, they don't have the lightning charger now. It's some C thing. I'm like, why are we changing this? Who gives a fuck how
You
the
could
phone
have
gets
wireless
charged?
charging though. You could just plop it on the wireless charger.
Oh, well, because it's a 15 and it's a really old model, which the 16s came out like, I don't know, 4 weeks ago. Because it's an old model, the Telestore doesn't have any case selection for the phone.
Mm.
So I was like, what kind of case do you have? And the guy said, oh, we have an OtterBox Defender. It comes with a clip. You can wear it on your belt. I said, that's awesome, man. I've officially reached 50. I'm going to start clipping this phone to my belt every day.
Maybe you wouldn't lose it so much then.
So he says, if you don't like this case, we don't have any other choice. I said, okay, cool. Whatever, just give it to me. I need to get out of this store. I've been here for 2.5 hours, and your phone, when you restore the phone, it will only download apps off of Wi-Fi. It won't do it off a cell network. So I'm waiting in the store for the apps I need to function as a person to download on the phone. Some of them I don't give a fuck about. Some of them I do. And he says, but this OtterBox Defender case is $74. If you don't like it, it seems like a waste. I'm like, dude, listen, again, I don't have time to go to Best Buy and figure out which case works on this apparently super old phone, because it's like whatever, it's a 15. I'm like, listen, I'm just going to go home and order one from Amazon. So for the next week, I'm going to need a case. So it is what it is. Just give it to me. Because again, I don't care about the $74. I'm like missing phone calls and stuff that's important to me. What was your favorite